And hi guys, and welcome with me, the 40k Empress. We have an article on our hands, so we are going to start right away. I have a bit of a cold, so excuse me if I have any difficulties to speak, but I'm gonna try my best. I just didn't want to stay away from YouTube for too long. So here we are, and this pulled me back into the warp, so to speak, like literally. So hi to everybody in the chat, and thanks so much, dear Clyton, one of my Primarchs, for the support. Thank you. So now let's see what is this about. Why play a fascist? Unpacking the hideousness of the Space Marine. Okay, so right off the bat, this article is absolutely ridiculous. And this is written by Edwin Evans Thurwell, something like that, news editor. Well, I don't know, but I guess he does not know much about Warhammer 40k. And we shall establish that in a bit. So, he says, in order to make Warhammer 40k, 40,000 Space Marine 2 enjoyable, Saber Interactive had to make the Space Marines less like Space Marines. That's to say, less like semi-lobotomized, hypnotically indoctrinated slave soldiers enthralled to an uncaring and possibly non-existent god, in the words of Rick Priestley, primary writer of the original Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader rulebooks back in the 1980s. Well, that's not even relevant to the current 40k. I mean, it is something like a prototype of 40k. First of all, and second, semi-lobotomized, hypnotically indoctrinated, slave soldiers. That is nothing. Nothing like the Space Marines. They actually have their own character and their own qualities. They're not absolutely semi-lobotomized or anything of the sort. So, this is extremely uninformed and stupid. Since the very beginning, I do not understand how today's journals decide to be extremely unprofessional and not doing their Jesus, you know what I mean, not doing their homework, that's what I want to say. And actually researching what it is that they're going to talk about, what the heck is the topic. And 40k is obviously a universe with over 37 years of story, of lore. So you do have to do some kind of a research before you open your very stupid woke mouth and start, doing this with it, but just in writing forms. Hi to Mr. YouTube. He says, greetings, my empress. I have already saw the article on Vitanga Griff's channel. Never heard of it. Never saw so much brain rot towards in my life. Then again, journals are stupid grifters. Yeah, that's literally a grifter. And Daniel, hi to you. It's funny hearing leftists talking about be indoctrinated. Yeah, right. They are literally the most indoctrinated, brainwashed, and everything that they actually, talking about everything that they are directing towards other people. Stupidity? Yes, okay. As I said, guys, my cold and the fact that I haven't slept very well for 3 days, it's kinda bugging me, but I'm gonna try my best here to deliver this. So he continues, in Warhammer 40,000 supposedly satirical. Okay, that thing with the satirical, guys, it's so old by now. When I got into Warhammer 40k, and I have said this before, everything hit me as a very serious universe. There are actually some comedy elements here and there that are very subtle, and they are in line with the storyline that you're reading in that current moment. They are in line with life, so to speak. So they are written seamlessly into some of the stories. They're super minimal. I understand, and maybe, just maybe, in the beginning, in some areas of 40k, it was meant to be some kind of a parody of some stuff in the real world. Of course, okay. But going on 37 years later is actually a pretty serious and grim dark universe. That is what it has evolved to. Maybe it has been satirical before, But so far, it's just very cool and very serious universe, basically. Maybe you can still see some satirical elements here and there, like I said. Basically, in the Gene Father book, that was the latest satirical thing that I have seen, and it was very on point. Basically, with having to do with Brazilia's skull and how he recreated Gilliman in like an AI prototype, so to speak. Not an AI, but basically copying his mind. So he will try to converse with him and see what Gilliman would say in certain situations, and that is hilarious. But overall, the satirical thing is really old. It's like old news. Like, get your Mr. Juno, get your things, a bit not, in the 1986 or 7, something like that. Doodle High too. He says everything must be uh, deconstructed. Yeah, it's also tiresome. No. Daniel says orcs and necrons are hilarious. Oh yeah, of course, in their own way. Also, yeah, I mean, why necrons though? Yeah, I mean, orcs, I can understand. They're funny, but why orcs? Also, talking about having problems about introduction. That's Rich coming from the woke lefties. Yeah. And how to Autasia. Sorry if I butchered that. Thank you, greetings everyone. I should have begun with that story. Hi too. Okay, guys, I'm going with the article, and then I'm going to get back to your comments, of course. Okay. So satirical. That's where I left off. Definitively grimdark imperium of man. The Space Marines are the genetically engineered sons of the warrior and warrior monks. What? Warrior monks. Guy, Mr. Edwin Monks. Really? Monks? Of the Emperor, a messianic figure reduced to a dreaming corpse on the golden throne. That is really words of a simpleton who does not really know the nature of 40k. Trying to write this is a very pretentious piece. Jesus. Are you doing this when you're drinking your coffee, Mr. Edwin? Okay, so okay, he continues. Whose immense psychic emissions serve as a kind of spirit lighthouse for interstellar travel. Well, at least he got that right. The Space Marines are grotesque super man-clad in motorized armor who exist to exterminate the alien, the mutant, and the unclean. Okay, but I mean grotesque, and we have seen this before in one of the recent nonsense that were also released as articles or whatever. The Space Marine were grotesque. They're super cool. What do you mean grotesque? They're the pinnacle of enhanced men. Okay, I need my tea, sorry guys. They're the ultimate embodiment of patriarchal xenophobic fascism. This guy, he's not really familiar actually with the nuances of 40k and what 40k is and how we cannot compare it to ascism. I don't know, I maybe should not have read the whole word because I'm not sure how YouTube's gonna take that, but he does not understand nuances. And me and Quinn, I've read on the channel, I mean, me and Quinn, he's a very OG fan. Hi Quinn, if you're watching. He has been there, as I said before, from the very first time that 40k was created. And he also, last time that we have been discussing a recent 40k sci-fi author written stupidity article, basically, he also said that 40k is about nuances, and not in any circumstances we can actually compare it to today's real world. This was written almost 40 years ago, and it was meant to reflect on some of the author's, let's say, life knowledge experience and inspirations from other universes, but totally convert them and make them something different, something new, something original in that kind of a way that they did convert a lot of ideas and made something that's very unique. I mean, the whole 40K universe as a whole. So, how 40K is written and made in mind, it is not equal to aism or whatever movement that we have today. This is just like a compilation of many things, and it's about survival, and it's about basically the emperor of mankind wanting to conquer the universe so he can protect mankind of being conquered, basically. So attacked before being attacked, something like that. So just saying words like that are so meaningful and painful in our real human history, and just applying them to real, taking real, this real life horrible world and applying it to a fictional universe that is meant to be an escapism and not something that is meant to really depict the real world, not literally, not directly. It is just an absolute joke. It's unprofessional. It speaks that he and many other people like him does not understand what is sci-fi, even what is mean to be an author, a creator who creates fictional universes and just wants to tell different stories in different circumstances. That is it. You do not need to take words like that and just apply them in this manner. It's just horrible. Okay, so he continues, this is a source of some irony, given that they themselves barely qualify any longer as human, according to the ideals of uncorrupted humanity they champion. Oh, excuse me, but Space Marines are literally enhanced human beings. It's almost like saying that Captain America is not a human because he is now a super soldier. He is human. He just enhanced, man. Of course they have extra hearts and the gene seed, and they have hundreds of hormones pumped into their blood. They're still a human. When you see a steroid-induced professional bodybuilder, like, for example, Roddy Coleman, who does look exactly like a Space Marine, like you would imagine Space Marine looking like. You say what? He's not human anymore? He certainly looked so much different than a regular human being, especially if you never worked out in your life and if you never took the forbidden substances. He's still a freaking human. He's enhanced. And in many, many ways, he's not enhanced because that is destroying his health, but that's another topic. But you cannot say that just because, they come from humanity, they are literally humans that just enhanced. Such a conversation we did actually had with people on Twitter who decided to rage about the fact that I said that they're human. Yeah, they're human. Sorry. What to do? Enhanced humans are they're still humans. They might be totally different, but they're still human beings that are very, very enhanced. That is it. They still think human. They have same insecurities. Sometimes insecurities, sometimes they do have some human. Yeah, depending on the chapter, they have compassion sometimes. They're not lobotomized and not robotic. Some chapters like the salamanders are a lot more humanitarian than others, but they still talk like human, behave like human. They may also have a bit of an ego, some of the other chapters and all that, but that's all human qualities that are just like separated in different groups, and one part of the Space Marines have more of some or lack thereof, and some have more or less from others. That is it, because when you're an author and you're trying to depict anyone or anything, you're still trying to somehow give it that thing human qualities, because you don't know any other thing. You just are trying to make somehow your character or whatever you're trying to depict a bit more understandable, relatable to some extent. So, I always say a character or characters does not have to be the same as humans to be relatable in any kind of a way, but that's not a topic. You just need to make compelling characters. We can all get that, understand that we don't need to be a copy of that in our real life. Sorry. Yeah, people are trying to humanize, sorry, anything and everything. Yes, and thank you so much for dear Clayton for the amazing 5 memberships. Thank you. That's absolutely amazing. Okay, continuing, guys, and then I'm gonna look at your comments. Okay, so it's very hard to imagine how they live their lives. Space Marine 2's creative director Oliver Hollis Lake told me in an interview shortly after the shooter launched in September. They're so far from our daily lives and concerns, and we had to find a way to bridge that extreme mentality with something more human that could be connected that could be connected to by fans, by audiences, by players, so that we could actually make sense of their story rather than them just being fanatical killing machines, because it's hard to like those characters. I don't get that. Because I don't get why he said that altogether, because if you have read 40k and you read a few legions, you will see the humanity in all of them. I started rewatching Angels of Death when I work out now, and you see how the blood angels communicate. It's not anything different really from any other soldiers that you could imagine. It's not different by the ways that they're still talking to each other and they are concerned for each other. They are very noble in their ways, how they feel towards each other. They care for each other. They care for what they're fighting for. They're extremely vigilant. The one thing that actually Space Marines lack than the regular soldiers from a lot of other universes and in real life have in common. I mean, a lot of other soldiers have in common one thing, and Space Marines don't have it. And this and this is actually the fact that Space Marines, at least from what I have read for so many books now, I've never heard a Space Marine curse like a sailor. They're so intelligent, so polite. They talk so in such a high manner, sophisticated. I just love that. It's amazing to see how 2 Space Marines talk, because it's always so fascinating. Brother, this and that, and I just can't even. I'm aware that I'm writing my own comedy stuff for the Emperor, but it's kind of still like a lot easier to write the Emperor and the Primarchs. Space Marine is gonna be a bit harder for me. I don't know why. It's just that I can mentally connect more with the Emperor and the Primarch somehow. But yeah, point being that they're like such sophisticated fellas, especially when they scream "Die, heretics!" And really, that's the worst that we will probably hear from a Space Marine. Okay, so it's not hard to like those characters. I just don't get that. How it's very easy. Exactly because they're super cool looking and so sophisticated. And they're still noble and they still want to do their duty, which is a very compelling to know that that a soldier it is so loyal that they're just committed and they're doing everything possible. They're striving to be their best in every second of their service. So to me, that's really, really inspiring. Continuing. In particular, of course, Saber wanted to like the Space Marines under your control protagonist Dimitri and Titus and his subordinates. This name. Chiron and Cadriel, I probably butchered Chiron's name, together says Hollis Lake, the trio from a window into the difficult life of a space marine. Where there's a threat of corruption on every side, it's a real threat, and you have to be firm and unwavering. And then if you get on the right side of them, there is this absolute brotherhood and sacrifice that you get from it. Without spoiling too much, there is mistrust within the team. Chairhan and Gabrielle suspect Titus of being tainted by the swirling cosmic realm of chaos. A seed pad for demons and sorcery. But the game tempers their zealotry both in terms of the plot, which, as you expect from the action game, mirrors them in the moment of battle with overwhelming swarms of insects, monsters, and in terms of how they talk. Okay, although I'm not sure why Tyranids are insects. They're really not, they're just disgusting. Okay, so Hollis Lake, the narrative director Craig Sherman, pushed back on some of the do's and don'ts they received from Games Workshop about Space Marine vocabulary. They deviated from the suggested phraseology to make Titus and his comrades sound less strange and antiquated, less like Spanish Inquisition and more like soldiers from real-world present-day militaries. I didn't get that actually when I played the game. I should play it again because I played it on stream and I talked a lot during that myself. But yeah, it's good for me to also play it, so again, so I can get through that. And I do have to make the review as I promised, so okay. But yeah, I really didn't get that at all. They still talk like Space Marines. There was not any deviation, so I'm not sure what heck that's about. There's a line again where a Charon, okay, he says a company dismissed, and they really wanted me to change that to brothers. Attend your duties or something. But it's the words instead of one. And if that model was applied to all of the language in the game, I really strongly felt that people wouldn't get it. What? I mean, a part of 40k, what makes it unique is exactly this talk that I was talking about. So you don't need to change it to make it like regular stormtroopers or, any soldiers at all. Just make them speak like Space Marines. But again, whatever they changed still sounded like Space Marines, so there's that. It's saying something about how accustomed I am to the ostensibly parodic figure of the Space Marine being portrayed as a hero that I didn't really question this desire to make you like and get the fanatical killing machines at the time. To be clear, I don't think Saber are deliberately and consciously trying to kindle empathy for literal fascist enforcers in Space Marine 2. They're not stop it, guy. This is ridiculous. I mean, there are literal cases, and we talked about this before, where the Imperium had to align with some of the Xenos in order for them to do something together. It's important. So they are not fascists. They do not hate them because they're Xenos. They just have to kill them. Like offense is the best defense kind of a thing. It's not about hating them because they're different from human per se. It's just that they're also gonna attack us and destroy us if we're not doing anything. Of course, that is also a matter of nuance and how the Emperor could do stuff, but that's another thing. But still not fascist. That's not the idea at all. That's not the reason, that's not the drive, and the rest. He continues, much of the above reasoning is grounded in ostensibly neutral best. Jesus, did this get his pretentiousness in writing? Best questions of craft and characterization. Damn it. I'm gonna break my tongue. Really cannot read some of the words right now with this throat. Still, it would have been useful to dig into what it means to make Space Marines likable, because Warhammer 40,000 today has an issue with certain groups of players actively identifying with them. What? No? I mean, I can be a super fan of the Space Marines, but that doesn't mean that I'm identifying with them. It just means that I like what they are, because this is fantasy, it's not real life, so you cannot identify with them in the means like I'm exactly the same thing. No, we are intelligent enough to separate life from fiction, but to this author, probably we are not. Exactly how far this extends is unclear, but the game's aces, well, I already said the word, but I'm gonna not risk it again. A subculture is significant enough that Games Workshop have felt moved to publish statements disavowing outright bigots and reminding the tabletop community that the Imperium of Man is a stand-up of atheism, of empire, and of murderous patriarchs, not an endorsement. I don't even know by this point what this guy is talking about. I'm really wondering if he realized he's talking about a dystopian and fictional universe. Yet, yes, Autasia, he's not realizing that. Hey, hi to you, Ronaldo. He says, is this that dude? I rock, paper, shotgun? That was an awful article. Yeah, it is. And I can't believe this, but this is continuing. I probably will not read the whole thing, guys, because it's too long for my current situation with the throat, but I'm gonna continue a bit more. Okay. The company's spokenness is praiseworthy, and there's the argument that much of this is out of their hands. Every community harbors extremists who read against the grain. But Games Workshop are also guilty of hypocrisy here, in that modern-day Warhammer 40,000 is a far cry from the satire it once claimed to be. Well, yeah, it is. It is. It's not a satire. Once again, I said at the beginning. Back in the 1980s, Warhammer 40,000 could have been called counterculture. It's loopy, you are atheist universe, a warping of the heck, something Britain in the Cold War, its outworks and characterizations subversive in their fickleness, jamming together and of devices from 2000 AD comics. Yeah, they took some inspiration from that, Mewtwo and Doom, but over time the license holders have softened and consolidated the wackier elements in order to make Warhammer 40,000 more sellable. It's not wacky? What's wackier? It's pretty freaking grim dark still, okay? Tyranids are coming to eat us. Then are the freaking orcs, as I find out now. A gradual mainstreaming that has transformed the Space Marine in particular form are crazed and distorted, dug into a social camaraderie and devout necessary evil pitched against a galaxy of apocalyptic terrors. Oh no, okay, this is just, I can't even. 2023, the writer and designer Tom Cowell published a comprehensive account of how Warhammer 40,000's okay, Sci-Fi, the game's best. Okay, this is dumb. This is dumb, guys. I just will not continue. You can read it if you like on your own. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now, so you can just go. Here you go. You can go and read this crap. I don't know why would you waste your time, but the point is to protect 40k from this nonsense. I mean, speak out against this type of crap. Just people that decided to write articles out of their own butts, pretend that like They know everything about 40K already. They just came 5 minutes ago and they already know everything about 40K. So, what are your thoughts, guys? Write them in the chat, please. I'm gonna check right now. Hey, Ronaldo, he says, I think Arch is a piece of this guy. The author is just projecting his agenda onto the established franchise with its own lore. Yeah. No, thank you, Messiah. Yeah, you don't need it. Well, I actually haven't watched Arch for a while since he started basically creating fake news about the Warhammer shows. So, haven't seen anything from Arch for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But in any case, guys. We got I mean, 40K was absolutely intact just a few years ago. Nobody went after it. No fake people, and fake people, I mean woke people, came after it to, crap on it. They didn't know what that was, but because it's becoming more popular, they're all like getting in line for who to attack it next. And that is how it looks like. So 40K is a lot deeper than just the war. There are a lot more elements to it, a lot more meaning to it. It's not just flashy and, whatever they thought it is. Because if it did not have any depth, it would not stick for that long as it has. But almost 40 years, guys. That's a ton. And it's not even in the mainstream yet. And it was managed to be successful for so many years. And now, probably, if we get it into the mainstream, 40K just has a chance to expand. I mean, at least for more people to know about it. And if it's done justice, that's gonna be great. So that's what we're counting on. If GW are willing to keep it in, as intact as possible, this could be very successful. Hopefully, because most people have never seen such a thing. Really. I mean, maybe some similarities here and there, but just compare Dune, Star Wars, Foundation even, whatever universe, Stargate, Star Wars, I said Star Wars, so Stargate, Star Trek, yeah, everything to 40K, nothing compares at all. It's just very, very different. Of course, there's gonna be an Emperor somewhere, but he's also different. He has nothing to do with the Dune one, or anything like that. The Space Marines is so different themselves, the way that they're made. They're just could be done like a whole show about how they're made. Even that, it's so detailed. Jesus. Ronaldo says, I don't often get annoyed in journalists, but this guy and his pandering to the BlackRock finance agenda really left a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Because mostly these people come with their pretentious finger lifting, and they think that if they write this very, very pretentious, once again, the way that it's structured and everything, article, they will sound extremely intelligent, and we will not be able to just say that it's crap. But here we are, we're saying it's crap. We are actually the people that are reading 40K, that spend some time in it. It actually read more books than this guy, that's for sure. And although nobody can know everything about 40K because it's just too much, and even if I read everything that ever has been released, I still will not know everything because I will not freaking remember everything. It's just not possible. But you can still learn a ton. That's most important. You can still keep learning every day. I started reading actually The Fall of Cadia today, so hopefully I can finish it in a week if I have the time. It's a long book, but I'm listening to it, so that's a lot easier than sitting down, because sitting down is not an option for me. I cannot sit down and read anything. I have to listen to it. That's how it is. But it's still something. I'm taking notes. If something important happens, if some character does something that is of note, And that is how I can also bring you the book review eventually. Oh boy. Thank you, Dear Clayton. He says I can feel my brain cells committing harakiri when I see such articles. They write about things they know nothing about. So if their opinions is somehow fact, this article is pandering at its finest. Yeah. And you know, the other funniest thing, and just thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, dear Clayton. Thank you. This is amazing. The funniest thing is that it's irony because they're the ones that are actually acist about the way that they want our lives to be ran. Everything that they want to be accomplished in the world is through force, is through a lot of propaganda, like all the time, all the freaking time. But then they go after this, which is it's just so freaking great. It's so entertaining, and nobody wants to actually live there. We just want to learn what's happening there. Anyway, you know, this is art. 40K is just art. We're experiencing the art, we appreciate it. We do not take this creation and want to paste it on our own lives. We're not dumb. But these people seem to think that they can actually perform the things that they most hate, or they pretend to hate them. I don't know, it's so confusing if you're with this mindset, because it does not make any freaking sense at all. They are working against each other, against everyone, against the world. Everything that they freaking hold dear, they're working against that. And now they just wanna take the last base universe and freaking like twist it like that. And as I said before, if you don't like a particular work of fiction, it is not for you, and you're supposed to walk away and find something that you would like. Okay? This work of fiction is not supposed to change and warp and be transformed like General Zod from Man of Steel with a terraforming machine. You know? He came to Earth, wanted to terraform the Earth so it can become like Krypton. And he will kill everyone by doing that. But yeah, basically, if he is the guest and he wants to live here, he has to be the one to adapt. We, the rest of already the created world, does not and will not have to conform to what he wants or needs. He has to adapt to the new environment. This is not a perfect analogy by any means. It is not. But the point is that where is the common sense of the past? You know, I'm watching, let's say, Teen Wolf, the first episode. I don't like it. What do? I turn it off. I go and watch the Vampire Diaries, for example. So I don't watch that, and I go watch the other thing, because the other thing I can get, I can understand, I can find entertaining to a point. Also, we have a Bulgarian actress there, but that's another topic. But Teen Wolf, no, I just couldn't do that. So, you know, but I didn't go on the internet and send a message to the creators and be like, why didn't you make this interesting for me? It's all about me, 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 me. What, like what? So basically, we have some part of the world where we have Karens that are called the woke people, and they lack common sense and they live in totally different reality. And we have the other people that hopefully are more, because I'm kind of getting worried that we're not, but hopefully we are, that they're just sitting like thinking that's nothing happening, and there's over there these crazy people. But these crazy people actually had become a huge problem and a threat to everything that we love and hold dear, even in freaking politics. So we gotta speak about those things, and that's that, unfortunately. And Mr. YouTube says, I'm currently reading Shield of Bow. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's very cool. I have to get that, you know, to get to that someday. And currently struggling with tempestuous. But yeah, you enjoy it. Okay. So guys, I gotta go because my voice cannot stand any longer to speak that much. I will be back as soon as possible. Hopefully I'm better soon. But thanks once again for you guys that you are here and you're supporting me, and to dear Clayton, and he's supporting me in this major way. It's making a huge difference. Yeah, links are down below to everything. Till next time, with me the 40k Empress Carrie. Love you. Bye bye.